Hi everyone, JT here, and welcome. So, as of this recording, when it debuts on YouTube, it is December 30th, 2025. We are on the last days of 2025. And that is time for me for this season, 2025, for me to participate with a lot of other YouTube critics in breaking down my best and worst list. And we're going to start, of course, with my top 10 best movies of 2025. 2025 was a crazy year, and there were some great movies that did come out this year, as well as a lot of bad ones. That will be, of course, for tomorrow when you watch my worst movies list. But today, we're focused on the best, and there was a lot of great movies that I had to compilate, and there is a lot that I want to review. So let's not waste any time. If you want to see my honorable mentions, you can find them in the description box down below. But let's not waste any time. Let's take a look at my top 10 best movies of 2025. At number 10, we have the Five Nights at Freddy's sequel, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Um, I really don't get why critics don't like the Five Nights at Freddy's films. I mean, I understand the flaws that they have, but really, I enjoyed it. I'm not a big horror movie fanatic, nor certainly am I a big fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. But I don't know, there was something very enjoyable about watching this film that's got me more interested in playing the games too. And this sequel definitely delivered. From what I heard from fans after the film, because I wanted to get feedback truly from FNAF fans, and all of them really told me all the same that they learned from the flaws from the first movie, definitely followed the lore more closely to the three other Five Nights at Freddy's games. Again, this kind of seems like a mashup of different FNAF games. So that's what they really told me. And I really did see that, definitely. And looking at the new place, the OG original Freddy Fazbear's um, ride restaurant, to seeing more of the lore, revealing of William Afton, which I've seen fan art too. And most definitely, the actor who played him definitely is a spot on look. And, there's something very much interesting. And hearing the FNAF fans cheer and excitement on certain moments in this film, I recorded it because I wanted to see how their reactions were, and they were cheering. And man, I just glad that I was around the fandom to hear and to get feedback too from fans. And I had a great time, and as being not a big horror movie fanatic, this is kind of the horror films which on kind of par with Coraline where I can enjoy. And I'm definitely hyped for a third film and whatever else is coming next. So, really looking forward to what other sequels Blumhouse has with the FNAF franchise. Next up at number 9, we have Roofman. So, Channing Tatum plays this ex-soldier turned robber thief who targets McDonald's restaurants, who escaped from prison and hid inside a Toys R Us for like a whole year or like 6 months. I'm glad I watched this movie. I watched it recently on Paramount Plus. It came out on Paramount Plus. I didn't see it at the movie theater, but I did watch it. And I enjoyed it. Seriously, just Channing Tatum playing this character, playing this real life. It's a true story, too. This was a true thing that happened. Was so awesome to see, and I love just the references of Toys R Us. Again, you see me, I'm a Dead Mall enthusiast. I toured a Dead Mall in my local hometown. I watch these type of things, and to see kind of this ode to the 2000s, Toys R Us store, Channing Tatum's character wearing a Naruto hoodie. I bet that was a detail none of you saw. He was wearing a Naruto hoodie in this movie. This was, I had a fun time watching this. Seeing Kristen Dunst in this movie as well, and also Tyrion Lannister too. Uh, man, I I don't know. I just enjoyed this. Again, this was a fun movie to watch, Had its drama moments, but it was definitely a fun movie to watch. Roof Man, you know, and Channing Tatum's performance in this film was also great as well. And just this was again, I just enjoyed Roof Man. It really was an entertaining film. I get why people loved it, and I'm hopefully if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It was definitely enough. Just really the little odes and nods to the 2000s here, and just it being premised inside a Toys R Us store was enough that I just had a really good time watching this film. Definitely would recommend you all check it out. Definitely worth being on my list. Next up at number 8, we have a Netflix film, and that is Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul. So this movie came literally in the beginning of the year. This was my first YouTube Shorts review film I reviewed for on my YTSR series. And, you know, Wallace and Gromit. Who doesn't love Wallace and Gromit? You know, our two favorite Brits. I love Wallace and Gromit. You know, I loved when I went to see The Curse of the Were Rabbit. Love that film to death. Have it on DVD. Love that. I've watched all of the original short films, you know, Grand Day Out, The Wrong Trousers, A Close Shave, which A Close Shave, of course, gave us Shaun the Sheep. And now, and with this one, we are owed back to The Wrong Trousers with Feathers McGraw, that evil little penguin disguised as a chicken, will aim back for revenge. And man, oh man, I just loved it. I have to give appreciation to the people at Aardman. You know, the hard work they do in those plaster scene stop motion animation works is just really fantastic. I love the characters. The actor who now does the voice of Wallace, doing Peter Sellers proud in his performance as Wallace was so spot on. Of course, I love the young police officer cop, Officer Majordine. Her name is. I'm sorry if I butchered her name. She was fantastic. Really loved her in this character. She was my favorite character outside of Wallace and Gromit that I liked from this film. And of course, Feathers McGraw, absolutely great cartoon villain. I love this. This was a cute film. You know, yes, it came out last year in Britain. It came out in the US in the beginning of the year. And I'm glad I reviewed this movie first. And it stayed on my list all year. It was just that great of a film. I had a great time. Even though with the story being a little bit comparable to Wrong Trousers, it was great. It was just nice to see a film that pays homage and is introducing a new generation to Wallace and Gromit. You know, that is one thing I loved about this film. And I really am glad. And I hope Aardman gives us more films in the future. Number 7 on my list is the movie One of Them Days. Now, I didn't do a review of this movie, but I'm putting it on the list because this was an entertaining film. Very entertaining film in the sense it is goes back to again really of 2000s nostalgia of the stoner black comedies of the early mid 2000s, you know, but this time with the main protagonist being two women, two roommates. Kiki Palmer, I've grown up watching her since True Jackson VP. Hilarious. Great comic timing, her comedy, and even some dramatic moments here. So good. Really do love it. SZA also was a big surprise to me. I'm a real big fan of her music. She's actually a good, funny actress. She is really funny in this film. She does have good comedic timing too. Everything was great about this film. Of course, it was written by Issa Rae, fellow YouTuber, now turned Emmy Award winner with her Insecurity show. If you've grown up with Issa Rae's work, it was great. Definitely you could see her humor and her black comedy definitely in this film. And it was just a fun time. It was really hilarious. I laughed a lot during that film. And I'm glad it exists. I'm glad that we did get such an entertaining film this year. Or was that one of them days? And definitely it was one of them days when watching that movie. Number 6, and this is going to shock people. Number 6, Demon Slayer the movie, Infinity Castle Part 1. Believe me, this could have been top 5. Again, it was just the pacing And like I said, the flashback montages in the middle of big box fights. Really just no. That, particularly during the big battle with Mugazi. Why? It just, and it made me feel bad for him. Bad for a demon that killed our flaming Hashira. That was big. But do not underestimate. I loved this film so much. Epic, great animation, great battles, great action, great English voice acting. Seriously, and particularly, I mean, the moment alone with my boy Zenitsu finally avenging his grandfather, that alone sealed the deal for me with this film. This was just great, you know. It's gonna be at least a year from now. I think 2027. They said we're gonna get part two, and then after that, part three, which will be out when we get a Avatar film in 2029. But I'm fine waiting, you know. Particularly, I am will be seeing these movies in the movie theater. Definitely, this was great. This was a great time. Anime. This movie is nominated now for a Golden Globe. Possibility of maybe an Oscar nomination because of that. So, will Demon Slayer be at the Oscars? It's a possibility. But I'm just glad we got this film this year. Definitely a start for a lot of what is to come in part two. Believe me, I am highly anticipating part two. Infinity Castle, even despite its flaws, even though it wasn't in my top five, it's still going to be in my list 100%. And here it is. It's at number 6, but believe me, hopefully, maybe with part two, it will be in my top 5 or even number 1. But we'll see how that will be in a few years' time. But yes, man, my boy Zenitsu. Ugh! Man, that scene alone just made me happy. Okay, number 5 is a documentary. Now, one of my family members complained that I shouldn't be putting documentaries on my best movies list, but I have respect for the documentary genre. But I'm kind of put a new rule now where I'm including only one documentary on my best list. And there were a lot of good documentaries come out this year. A lot, believe me. But after so many I watched, I'm gonna give it to our great man of rock and roll, the bleeping Prince of Darkness. Number 5 is going to Ozzy, No Escape from Now. Man, it is hard to even fathom that Ozzy Osbourne is no longer with us. Even more so, knowing the health issues he had from when he hurt his neck, which he wasn't, you know. This is why you have to be careful when you see a doctor and always try to get different opinions from different physicians because, man, what his body sadly had went through and the decline of his health was really just sad to see. But even then, to see his will to do one more show in his home city of Birmingham, I have to respect it. You know, we know of Ozzy Osbourne's story. We know the the rock and roll lifestyle of this man from the poor streets of Birmingham to the wildness of his careers in Black Sabbath and in his solo career, the drugs, the alcohol, you know, just it's just amazing that he survived to be the age he was when he died. And again, it's hard to fathom he's no longer with us. But you know what? Knowing that his last ever concert was a huge stadium filled performance in his home city, his final wish that he wanted to do was to say thank you to the fans that made his career possible for all these years. You know, my condolences again go to Sharon, Jack, Kelly, Amy. You know, I mean, your father was really, it's, I'm amazed, you know, I'm very, at least, he's no longer suffering with all the pain. And hey, he's reunited with his pal Randy Rhoads. That's one thing, I mean, really, if you are a rock fan, particularly a heavy metal fan, just watch this documentary. There is no doubt, there were so many documentaries come out this year, but if there was one on a person that came out this year, it had to be this one, Especially that we also got a chance to hear Ozzy giving kind of his last kind of sharing about himself in this. He just, seriously, it's still hard for me to come out. Even though I'm not a big heavy metal fan, it was a very interesting documentary. I've seen that, watched the podcast his family did, the reality show, which is now available on streaming, and the Basement Tapes. Yeah, he might have been the Prince of Darkness, but he was just a great guy and an awesome human being and just a survivor to live to be in his 70s. Like, man, it's just hard, Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Effin' Darkness. You were an inspiration. You created one of the big innovators and one of the greatest genres in rock music, and I mean, you ended your career on a massive high note, man. Definitely, you will be missed. Rest in power. Legend. Very much my respect, and you are definitely deserving to be in my top 5, my top 10 best movies list. Your documentary deserves the recognition from me. Number 4 on my list, Chainsaw Man, the movie Arc. Yeah, this beat out Demon Slayer. I'm sorry. I loved this film. I'm not a big Chainsaw Man fan, but seeing this in the movie theater, animation flawless, voice acting amazing, action sequences, whoa, and the story, much better kind of than Demon Slayer. No unnecessary flashbacks during the boss fights and epic action sequences and battles. I loved this film. Also, the music. The pool scene, the piano melody on that. Oh, beautiful. I want to see the Busey ASMR do a cover of it. Beautiful. One of the most beautiful piano scores in a film I have ever heard in my life. I had fun. Definitely loved this film. Chainsaw Man was such a great experience. I need to watch it still. I need to finish the show. But I'm glad. And of course, also the ending theme. Hikaru Utada, Kenshi Orisu, collab of the year. Sorry, Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter. Them two, perfect collaboration. The ending theme was fantastic. Yeah, Chainsaw Man. If there was an anime movie I wanted to put on this list that was going to be among the top 4, yeah, it would have been Demon Slayer, but just after seeing Chainsaw Man Arc, deservedly deserved to be on this list, for sure. Number 3 on my list, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. The great director doing great justice to an iconic horror story. Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro was a cinematic masterpiece. Trust me, beautiful cinematography, beautiful visual effects. Seriously, between James Cameron and Guillermo del Toro, these two men know how to properly create special effects for these movies. When you have other big companies, yet these, in particular Guillermo del Toro and Frankenstein, seriously, these were beautifully created visual effects. I don't know why. I get the stresses of CGI divisions of companies, but seriously, the special effects in this film were just fabulous. The acting was fantastic also. The actor who played Frankenstein, the pain and torture of him being trapped when the castle was on fire and hear him shout, "Victor! Victor!" Oh, that got to me. just really, I mean, weren't we? I don't think I was surprised. Guillermo del Toro did Frankenstein justice so well. Really, this was visually, you know. I should have watched it in the movie theater, but it was on Netflix, so I watched it at home. But even then, it's such a beautiful film. Again, Guillermo del Toro did not disappoint. This was such a beautiful movie. And one of the great things to come out on Netflix this year, which now I'm going to now go to. Okay, believe me, this movie would have been my number one. But there was an animated film before it that's my number one, but both kind of have something in common. But do not underestimate. I am glad this movie became a global smash and phenomenon and has become number 2 on my list. K-pop Demon Hunters. Oh! We witnessed a cultural phenomenon that I have not seen since maybe Frozen. I was not prepared for this film. It was fantastic, but I did not expect it to get the global recognition. But dang it, it did. This movie, I am so happy, got recognition. No need for always having to be Disney or DreamWorks. No, this film got recommendation. This film definitely showed it's not just Spider-Man that drives Sony Pictures Animation. K-pop Demon Hunters was fun. This was a fun animated movie. At a time where we really needed some fun and escapism, K-pop Demon Hunters delivered. Animation flawless. I love the characters. I love Huntrix. I love Huntrix. Zoe's my favorite member, but I love all 3 girls. Mira, Rumi, Zoe, I love all of them, but Zoe's my favorite. The Saja boys definitely also I love. Baby Saja's my favorite. Also Genu. Also, Team Ruginu for life. I am shipping them. He's not dead. Genu's not dead. He will be back in the sequel. I know it. Like Steve Rogers in Avengers Doomsday. He's going to be back for some reason. Okay? Mark my words. It'll be like Steve Rogers' return in Avengers Doomsday. Yeah, spoiler if you didn't see the little teaser. Not trailer. Not trailer, it was a teaser. But that's besides the point. I'm glad K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm so happy. And learning more and being introduced to the singing voices, EJ, Audrey Nuna, Ray Ami. I have been binge listening the discographies of Audrey and Ray. They are so good. Okay, very more R&B, very experimental, but really good. And I'm so happy hearing EJ's story, the singing voice of Rumi's story, going from being turned down to be a K-pop star, going more to be the songwriter, behind the scenes person. And then in this movie, she was allowed to vocally shine. This woman's performed at the Tonight Show. They performed, her and the others have performed in the Macy's Parade. In fact, straight up tomorrow, they are performing in the Dick Clark Rockin' New Year's Eve. All that's left is that they're going to be interviewed by Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes before the Grammys. Mark my words. And I hopefully to CBS News, Barry Weiss, whoever runs it now, make that interview happen. Huntrix, 60 Minutes interview. It will happen. It has to happen. Because this was the year of Huntrix. This was the year of K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay? You know, Disney frustrated me this year. So to have a different studio and this film get a level of global phenomenon that those movies would usually get, I'm so happy. You know, I look forward to a sequel. I look forward to hearing solo work from EJ. I'm looking forward to everything K-pop Demon Hunters related. I want a short film. Please, Sony, give us a short film to at least hold us over. Okay, we know 5 years, which I hopefully that won't be 2029. We get K-pop Demon Hunters 2, but please, for the life of us, do that. And Netflix, merchandise this thing like Ray Kroc, franchise it. All right, I want to see toys at Walmart. I want to see. You already guys got clothing at Hot Topic. I want to see. Okay, people in the shady places are making knockoff stuff. Okay. You know something's popular when they're selling stuff at the Corpus Christi Trade Center, okay? Seriously, really get on merchandising and marketing this film. Please. Seriously, I'm just happy. I loved K-pop Demon Hunters, okay? I watched it over again. It locked me in, and I'm so glad. But it wasn't number one. Unfortunately, it's going to another film. But the passion of animation, but particularly respect to an iconic franchise. Let's go. My number one pick. We're to quote Hugh Neutron, you can't beat the classics. Number one on my list, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. Now this was a movie that I am so glad I saw in the movie theater, and I'm so glad it saw the light of day. This movie, like K-pop Demon Hunters, was influenced by anime, K-pop, and K-dramas. This movie takes inspiration from Looney Tunes. This movie respected the classics. This movie was made by animators, voice actors, and people who love the original Looney Tunes. Animation, so much nostalgic to the great animation works of Looney Tunes. The story, very funny. Just very funny. I just loved this film to extreme. Eric Bakuza has Mel Blanc's spirit in him. Dude did a fantastic job doing the voices of Porky Pig, Daffy Duck, you name it. And just really, I'm just glad this movie was released. We've been seeing animation and Looney Tunes get disrespected by Warner Brothers Discovery this year. Again, I could be like Robin and her rant about Disney. Save that for the worst of your list. Warner Brothers Discovery was a mess. It's been for a while. I can go on tangent about how terrible David Zaslav's run that company, the removal of Cartoon Network content off HBO Max, the disrespect for Infinity Train, which Please Catch Up Entertainment acquired Infinity Train and get Owen Dennis to give us more seasons. Like literally, I just would want that. And now Warner Brothers might be acquired by Netflix. And I'm not even getting into more details about that. But in that midst of it, Looney Tunes was removed off HBO Max. It's now on Tubi, but still, the fact that he would remove it, and yet this movie, you know where it was available to stream when it was out on streaming services? HBO Max. That pettiness from David Zaslav. He made this movie available on the streaming service from this company that wrote this off. I'm just glad this movie was released, and because of this, Ketchup Entertainment was able to acquire Coyote vs. Acme. And I'm so excited for Coyote vs. Acme to come out. I'm so excited for so much to come out next year. But I'm so happy we got this film. And I'm putting it number one just because it just shows respect for classics. Believe me, I'm not like those anime tourists. Big example of how you disrespect classics right there. This was such a great movie. I was laughing my head off every time. I felt like a little kid again watching Looney Tunes reruns on Boomerang. That's the simple nostalgia with The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. That was the spirit it gave me, and it was made, and I could see the passion that was made into this film by passionate fans of Looney Tunes. And that, for me, is a great thing I want. I want to see passion. I want to see creativity. I want to see that in film. Yeah, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, is my pick for the number one best movie of 2025. And that's it. That is my pick for the top 10 best movies of 2025. A very solid list for me, in my opinion. I know not everybody's going to agree with it, but hey, this is my list, my opinion, my choices, and my rules, and my channel. No, seriously. But thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for growing my channel. Thank you for giving me an outlet to express this for you all. And I'd like to know what you guys think. What do you guys think of my list? What do you think of my choices? What were your picks for the top 10 best movies of 2025? Let me know in the comments down below. Tomorrow we'll be premiering my top 10 worst movies of 2025, which was a bit more difficult. And yes, I will be wearing the Korra cosplay. I mean, it's tradition for me to wear that cosplay. But stay tuned for that, and believe me, I got a lot to say, especially of Park Planet, Disney. So can't wait for all to premiere that. Over here in the little end screen, you will see the past best movies lists from last year, 2024, 2023, and 2022 in their respective fields. And please please share, please subscribe, hit the notification bell if you do subscribe. Follow me on my social medias. You can find also on my channel. And until tomorrow, this is JT signing off.